Our modern ocean resembles a children's aquarium. In the prehistoric abyss, no plants could survive. No light, no color, no reference points. To eat, each animal had to invent its own strategy. Some enlarged their eyes to the point of absurdity. Others abandoned them. Still others transformed their bodies into living lanterns. It was a world where evolution seemed to test every possible idea, no matter how strange. Among the masters of this darkness was Ophthalmosaurus, a marine reptile from the Upper Jurassic. Its slim body suggested a living missile, but its gaze was even more impressive. Two giant eyeballs, géants. Each eye measured over 20 cm. No fancy aesthetics. Its massive eyes were light antennae capable of detecting the slightest glimmer of light lost in the depths. Ophthalmosaurus could hold its breath for long minutes and dive several hundred meters, perhaps beyond 500 meters, where light no longer exists. Under this crushing pressure, its eyes must have been supported by bony rings to prevent them from collapsing. And there, in complete darkness, it hunted. While other marine reptiles preferred clear waters, it glided through the night, scanning the darkness for prey, perhaps even a glimmer of bioluminescence. Fossils of Ophthalmosaurus have been found all over Europe, proof that this plunge into darkness was not an eccentricity, but a successful strategy. In the seas of the Jurassic, survival belonged to those who knew how to hunt in the dark. Some other hunters, without the need for large eyes, could become ghosts of the night. Phosphorosaurus, a small mosasaur from the Cretaceous period, measured only 3 or 4 meters, but it had one disturbing feature. Its eyes were forward-facing like an owl's, like those of a predator built for precision. Most marine reptiles looked sideways to spot danger, but this one had true binocular vision. These tubular eye sockets took up much of its skull, turning its gaze into a surgical instrument. All indications are that it was nocturnal. When the giant mosasaurs rose to the surface to rest, Phosphorosaurus began its hunt in waters that are now Japan. It glided through the shadows, spotting flashes of lanternfish and glowing squid. It wasn't the fastest in broad daylight, but at night it became a fearsomely accurate hunter. While on the surface, Tyrannosaurus rex ruled the land, in the depths, another killer reigned supreme. Small, precise, and relentless, some monsters preferred a more brutal strategy. The viperfish is one of them. Its teeth are so long that they protrude even when its mouth is closed. They are not teeth, but fangs. His head seems as if there was no room left to store them. The viperfish waits in the darkness, motionless like a living mine. When prey approaches, it lunges forward at projectile speed and impales the victim on its fangs. Its skull even has a shock zone to cushion the impact. And if that weren't enough, it glows. Its belly is covered in photophores that help it blend in with the dim light coming from the surface. But even this living trap looks almost normal when faced with another predator, the goblin shark. A strange, pink, flabby creature with an oversized snout. What really chills you is its jaw. The goblin shark can project its entire jaw forward as if a second mouth were sprouting from its skull. In a fraction of a second, the jaw extends, captures the prey, and then retracts. This technique has existed since the early Cretaceous period, 125 million years ago. Fossil remains of its ancestors closely resemble modern individuals. While life changed around it, the goblin shark did not see the need to change its recipe. It lives in extreme depths where few animals venture. It moves slowly, waits, and when something approaches, it triggers the mechanism. Many experts go an entire career without seeing a live one. Another equally disturbing returnee from the depths is the frilled shark. Its serpentine body resembles an eel, but its mouth is a trap lined with about 300 teeth arranged in more than 20 rows. Each tooth is a tiny trident. The frilled shark spends its days hidden in crevices and only comes out at night. When a squid or fish gets too close, it leaps out and swallows its prey whole, sometimes half its size. Similar fossil teeth have existed for over 80 million years. In other words, this prehistoric smile was already gliding through the darkness when dinosaurs ruled the continents. But some monsters have come up with even stranger ideas. Take the anglerfish, a fishing fish. Their forehead is a fleshy stalk, ending in a small living lamp. The light attracts prey, and then the mouth closes. Simple and effective. But what is most disturbing is their reproduction. In these cold and immense depths, finding a mate is almost impossible. So the males have adopted an extreme strategy. When a male encounters a female, he bites her and merges with her. Gradually, its mouth becomes fused to her, its blood vessels connect, its body shrinks, it loses its digestive system. It becomes a living, reproductive appendage. The female swims, hunts, and he clings on like a small living tumor that produces sperm. Some females carry several males attached to them, a cluster of reproductive zombies. This strategy has existed for tens of millions of years and still works. Other creatures have chosen to survive in completely impossible places. Hydrothermal vents. Around 430 million years ago, the seabed cracked and superheated water gushed out, laden with metals and toxic gases. In this hell, tube worms settled. They had no mouths, no guts. They lived off chemosynthetic bacteria, housed in their bodies. These microbes use the toxic compounds to produce nutrients. Around the black smokers, these communities formed veritable living cities. When the vent died, they had to move. For nearly 500 million years, their descendants have repeated this strategy. An eerie stability amidst volcanic chaos. Among the masters of the art of hiding, none is as legendary as the coelacanth. In 1938, a museum curator in South Africa discovered a fish that had been thought to be extinct for 66 million years. To humans, the coelacanth was nothing more than a ghost from the past, a relic of ancient times until that day in 1938. As continents shifted, ice ages came and went, and mammals and birds appeared. This fish lived peacefully in deep caves about 150 meters below the surface. When scientists were finally able to study one up close, they discovered an animal almost identical to its fossil ancestors, a living time capsule. Other ancient beings preferred becoming vibrant flowers, and crinoids or sea lilies once formed veritable underwater forests. Some reached several meters in length. Their bodies were long calcareous stalks ending in a feathery crown that swayed in the current. They captured tiny particles of food by filtering the water. For hundreds of millions of years, this strategy was incredibly successful. Today, there are entire mountains of limestone, made up almost entirely of crinoid fragments. Most disappeared during the Permian extinction event, but some lineages survived in the depths. Even today, in some abysses, modern crinoids can be found standing on their stalks, repeating a gesture invented more than 300 million years ago. Other reptiles have tried a different strategy, going deeper than everyone else. Abyssosaurus is the perfect example. This lower Cretaceous plesiosaur had some of the heaviest bones known among marine reptiles, a sort of biological ballast. These large bones allowed it to dive for long periods. Then it would drop toward the darkest areas, where the pressure would crush a human. Just above the seafloor, it hovered, its eyes scanning for movement, its long neck poised to strike. For millions of years, it had made this endless night its home. Long before them, another group had already explored the depths, the trilobites. For 200 million years, their calcite lenses were among the most sophisticated in the animal kingdom. Then some lineages descended into the darkness and became blind. Their eyes smoothed out and disappeared. And despite this loss, they thrived, crawling through the mud, surviving successive extinctions. It is possible that the last trilobites on the planet were these blind deep-sea dwellers, unaware that they were the last representatives of their lineage. In the modern ocean, some scavengers continue this strange legacy. Giant isopods are massive arthropods that have been bloated by 30 million years of evolution. They can wait for years between meals. When a corpse sinks from the surface, dozens of them converge and gorge themselves until they can barely move. Then they wait for months, years, and among the strangest of all is Diplomachus, a giant paperclip-shaped ammonite that is 3 meters long. Whereas its cousins adopted a perfect spiral, this one chose a U-shaped loop. For a long time, paleontologists believed that it was several animals stuck together. Then they realized Diplomachus was real, and according to the growth rings on its shell, some individuals lived for nearly 2 centuries, 200 years suspended in the night. Finally, there is Charnia, the alien of the seabed. 5-6 million years ago, before fish, before arthropods, before almost everything else, Charnia stood out of the sand like a large living feather, almost 2 meters long. No mouth, no eyes, no stomach. It absorbed nutrients directly through its surface. For millions of years, it formed entire fields of motionless fractal figures. Then it disappeared without any attempt at descendants. An attempt at evolution remained without follow-up. When we look at the history of the deep, we see not only fossils, but also the wild and sometimes crazy creativity of life. Motionless feathers, lid lizards, fish that merge with their partners, giant woodlice that wait for years, dark angels with enormous eyes. Many of these creatures have disappeared. Some are still there, somewhere beneath our feet, repeating gestures invented millions of years ago. While the surface changes, the abyss remains faithful to its script, dark, silent, as if eternal.